Chapter 8 Conditional Statements in QBasic. While writing a program, you must have observed that it follows a specific sequence, the same in which commands are written. However, sometimes the user may alter this sequence of execution by repeating or skipping the execution of few statements subject to a given condition. For controlling the sequence of a program's execution, control statements are used. Control statements are of two types: conditional statements and loops. Conditional statements. We use these statements for specifying whether a particular task will be performed or not on the basis of a specific condition. The program transfers control for executing the statements based on whether the result of condition is true or false. These conditional statements use relational operators. Some of the conditional statements used in QBasic are if then else, if then statement. One of the most useful statements in QBasic is the if then statement. It allows you to choose what your program will do depending on the conditions you specify. Syntax: if condition, then. If the condition is true, then statements are executed. Statements: and if. Program 1. Write a program to prompt the user to enter marks. If the marks entered are equal to or more than 80, then display the message, "Congrats, you have scored good marks." Input: marks equal to A. If A greater than or equal to 80, then print, "Congrats, you have scored good marks." And if. Output: if the user enters 90 as the marks, the message, "Congrats, you have scored good marks," appears on the screen as the condition evaluates to true. In case the user enters 40, there will be no message on the screen as the condition evaluates to false. Program 2. Write a program to check if the entered number is even number or not. Input: enter a number x. If x mod 2 equal to 0, then print, "This number is even number." And output: if then else statement. If then else is another conditional statement. It is also called bidirectional decision making statement. If the condition is true, then the statements in if block are executed. If the condition is false, then the statements following else block are executed. Syntax: if condition, then. If condition is true, then statements are executed. Statement 1. Else statements to be executed if the condition is false. Statement 2. And if. Program 3. Write a program to check if a number is less than or greater than 100. Input: enter a number, number. If number less than 100, then print, "Your number was less than 100." Else print, "Your number was greater than 100." And if the user enters a number, say 50, the message, "Your number was less than 100" will appear on the screen as the condition evaluates to true. If the user enters, say 120, the message, "Your number was greater than 100" will appear on the screen as the condition evaluates to false. Output: if else statement. In case you want to specify some additional conditions in the if-then statement, the if-else statement is used. Syntax: if condition 1, then statements. If the condition 1 is true, statement is executed. Else if condition 2, then statements. Statements to be executed if condition 1 is false and condition 2 is true. Else statements. Statements to be executed if both condition 1 and condition 2 are false. And if. When more than one condition has to be evaluated, the if-else statement is used, and only one condition is true. You can have as many else-if statements as you want, depending on the conditions to be checked. This statement works by checking the first condition that evaluates to either true or false. If true, the corresponding statements will be executed and program moves to end if statement. Otherwise, next condition is checked. The else part is executed if no condition is true. The else part is not compulsory. If you do not have an else part and no condition is true, then none of the if or else if statements are executed. Program 4. Write a QBasic program using the if, else statements for comparing two numbers entered by the user. Input: enter first integer, num1. Input: enter second integer, num2. If num1 is greater than num2, then print num1 is greater than num2. Else if num2 greater than num1, then print num2 is greater than num1. Else print the numbers are the same. End if. Output: programs using conditional statements. Example 1. Write a program in QBasic to input a number and display whether it is divisible by 2 or 4. Solution: input: enter a number, num. If num mod 2 equal to 0, then print it is divisible by 2. End if. If num mod 4 equal to 0, then print it is divisible by 4. End if. Example 2. Write a program to input student's name, marks obtained in 4 different subjects. Find the total and average marks. Solution: input: enter the name, $N. Input: enter the marks in English, E. Input: enter the marks in maths, M. Input: enter the marks in science, SC. Input: enter the marks in Hindi, H. Let S is equal to E plus M plus SC plus H. Let A equal to S/4. Print the name of the student is $N. Print the total marks are S. Print the average marks are A. End. Example 3. Write a program in QBasic to input your age and showing whether you are eligible for rafting or not. Solution: input: enter your age, age. If age is greater than or equal to 14, then print you are eligible for rafting. Else print you are not eligible for rafting. End if. Lesson sum up. Conditional statements tell if a particular task will be performed based on a specific condition. Control statements are used for controlling the sequence of program execution. Control statements are of two types: conditional statements and loops. Conditional statements in QBasic are if then else, if else if else.